Davis Luster, and welcome back to the Us Review. Here is where I discuss both sides of controversial topics, posted on all platforms randomly, TikTok and IG every week, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I must say today's topic is a very juicy one. Man, have I heard so many discussions around this subject throughout my entire life. So many discussions. But before I spill the tea on what it is, let's recap a little bit about last week's topic that it was also a very good one, okay? It was called Love Times 2. Can you love two people? Season 1, Episode 2. I said in a nutshell, I discussed answers for both sides of the coin. First, I discussed people answering yes. I talked about if you were a non-traditional acting person and are basically a free-spirited person rewriting your own script, then maybe you could love two people. The two people that you may be in love with may very well be meeting two totally different needs. I also discussed the information gathered where people said and answered no. The opposite side of the coin, right? Those were people that followed a more of a traditional or religious format way of living. However, in conclusion, the bottom line was that your relationship should work for you and make you happy. Hopefully no one involved is blind to the parameters of what's going on. And if that is the case, then, hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? Now back to today and this juicy topic we're going to talk to today. It kind of flows. Today is Season 1, Episode 3, and we're going to be talking about opposite sex friendships. Is it healthy for someone in a relationship to be friends with someone of the opposite sex? How many times do you hear this conversation? When you're sitting on a boat with a bunch of friends discussing stuff, you're sitting at a dinner table, or you're just merely at a party or at a game night or something, and that topic comes up, and it is so much controversy. There are so many different opinions that people tend to, have around this subject. I think it's more geared, your answer may be more geared towards your experience of what has happened to you. So I will tell you that today's preface is taken from my novel, The Woman Tells, Chapter 3, entitled Continued Sinful Bliss. This chapter, just to give you a brief overview, continues with the wife, her intimate encounter with her paramour. Her excitement takes a twist and spins into some drama when this guy she's messing around with starts to show his colors and the capabilities of him exemplifying the same behaviors that she has issues with her husband, okay? So she probably thought she was running away from those kind of issues. However, he's doing the same thing, right? So let me ask you this. Is the grass greener on the other side? Maybe for some things, and maybe not so much for others, because they seem to be having the same behaviors around this one little area, right? So let's go to the book. I always take my preface from the book. The scenario that I'm going to read is, once again, from Chapter 3, entitled Continued Sinful Bliss. And I'll show you my novel. It is The Woman Tells. I talk about it all the time. You can get it at Amazon. You can order it on Barnes & Noble online. It's also on my website, askkarladl.com. So let's get to it, right? Let me read a little bit. I'm going to start somewhere in the middle, not at the beginning. And here's what it says. We ate dinner, or shall I say junk food. Shortly after, we began to talk about our issue. He had this way of making you feel like the point you were trying to make was totally incompetent, silly, and really your fault. What a way to flip the tables, right? The conversation was full of him saying, that is not the way it went. How many times have we heard that? You are making things more complicated than they have to be. He told me that he does not like confrontation, and if there were anything important he felt I should know, he had no problem sharing it with me. Okay. He asked if we could pick this up later because a couple of his friends showed up. To be specific, we were out with some of his friends. He had started to bring me around his inner circle. He was a very private person, so in my mind, I must have met the move forward, she's special approval. Okay, you're a little special. The night was going so well. The circles he moved in were very co-ed. Everyone happily enjoying themselves, talking shit, and making the best of a great thing. Here comes trouble. Of course, there's always one glitch to mess up your night. So I'm going to describe his friends. Here's what they were, okay? One of them was a wannabe important motherfucker who wants shut up, or an annoying leeching bastard showing up with he's empty-handed, that's another one, but wants everything, and who's hoping to become significant in your man's space. Well, can he be called your man? That's a question. Is this paramour that you're out with, hanging out with and stuff like that, is he really called your man? Can you guess which one kicked off that evening? I guess at this point, which one of these friends pissed her off? Can you guess? Anyway, the one I zeroed in on, of course, was the want-to-be significant B. I noticed that her girlfriend she had with her was acting very shady and unfriendly toward me. You always know what's up in a posse by the weakest link in the group who can't hold it together enough to play something off. Is that not true? Nothing, of course, the male gender or your so-called man would recognize as being strange, meaning that he's going to look at you and say, oh, you're just making these up. These are my friends and they ain't done nothing. It's just all in your head, right? Or it could be vice versa. Maybe it's your friends and it's him sitting there. And, like I said, it's two sides to the coin. And we're not just talking about everything is in the woman's favor. It could be in the reverse where you got your friends and just other stuff is going on and your man's not feeling it, okay? With that said, let's pick up from here. Let's talk about this subject. Let me ask you, can anyone in a relationship, let alone a married couple, have a healthy relationship with someone of the opposite sex? So here's what I gather. Let's talk about it. I actually think that you can. If there are ground rules and all three parties are clear and are included on what those rules are, I think that you actually can have a good relationship with someone of the opposite sex. Now, I want to say, depending on who it is, if it's you or him, let's just put it, let's just say it's me, and of course it would be, my husband. I'm the one with the friend. You want to make sure that everybody in that relationship has, know what the rules are. You want to be clear on what your expectations are. First of all, let's discuss that again. I just said that. Make sure everyone is on the same page as to what kind of platonic relationship it really is. Meaning that friend that you're hanging out with, because I do have male friends or whatever else, they are clear that this is not something that is intimate or going to be intimate and that is platonic. You want to make sure that they clearly understand that. You might have good intentions, but the friend could be very hopeful and hoping that this would turn into something else. And that is, so once again, you want to be very clear. And that could be, incited by just the way that you move with them, just the way that you behave around them. You can't have the situation where, you're, being very physical with them, that physical contact, hugging and kissing and on the cheek and, and everything, because this can be, this can work out two ways. That the friend that you're doing all this with, you could be giving them, like encouragement to continue to think that it's going to be some hope that you guys are going to get together. And you can also incite jealousy in your partner that's watching this, that has the issue, saying that, what, I know that you're saying that this person is your friend. However, I can see straight through it that they have intimate feelings for you. They like you. In some cases, I've seen the person is actually in love with the person. So, you want to watch all that and you want to make sure that everyone is clear. And here's another kicker. You want to limit or just watch and be careful the personal information that you're sharing with this friend. It could be a little damaging or a little harmful, because they could be taking that as, hey, they ain't all, as tight as, they're coming off to be. I have room to kind of move in and slide in. So you want to actually watch that. You want to make sure that you're honest about your intentions. And are you carrying on, in a manner that is leading the person on and is inciting jealousy in your mate? So make sure that you're clear. everyone is on the same page and you know exactly what it is, then I think that you can actually have a very good, a very good relationship. And I'll just give you an example back to season 1, episode 1, where I discussed, the things that you need to do. I discussed knowing your likes and your dislikes. You want to communicate that to your partner to avoid, the arguing and everything and someone being unclear as to where you stand and what's going on and what your expectations are. Make sure you explain your feelings, to your friends that you're, once again, that you are a friend with, that they know that, hey, this is just this. And when you're doing certain things, this is bothering my spouse, you might want to chill that out because, we can't continue to move like this because you're causing problems. And, at the end of the day, you're supposed to be helping me as a friend, not hurting me by doing things to incite arguments with me and my spouse. Okay? Let them know that you love your spouse. Consider, and then here's another thing. You might want to consider how important that relationship is with that friend. If, situations are arising where it's always causing controversy. Here's the thing, that you may have grown up with this person, and if they're a long life friend and have been around for years, then I wouldn't say just throw them away, but you have to have that conversation, and you should be able to have that conversation and not cause conflict because they are your friend. They've been around, they know you. And if they are on, if they do have good intentions and respect you and, want the best for you, they would understand that and they would act accordingly, and everybody can live harmoniously together. Okay. Now, let's talk about the side where we talked about the person with a friend. Let's talk about your spouse, you as the spouse on the receiving end, that your significant other has that friend. Make sure that you are not, you're not observing this friendship and having, just jealous innuendos within yourself, accumulating from maybe some back history and some stuff that's happened to you in the past. However, you're bringing it to this relationship and it really doesn't apply. Everything is, it's innocent and is above board, but it's just your insecurities that you're bringing forth. Just make sure that it's not that. So you want to do some self-reflection. And prior to, all of this, you should definitely, if you're having, very bad thoughts and you're having issues with the way that your spouse is conducting him or herself with their friend, you want to make sure that you're communicating those feelings and you're giving the reasonings why you feel that way, and make sure that they are definitely legitimate. Because here's the kicker: when your spouse responds or gives you the rebuttal, and it comes back that maybe they're inadvertently pointing out that you have some insecurities about yourself that's projecting, or these preconceived ideas that you have, is being projected onto their situation, and it's really nothing. And when they talk to you and that comes out, don't be upset. You need to accept what they're saying, and then you guys take that information and work on it and see where there is a common ground where you guys can, communicate effectively, and see what it is that you guys need to work on. Because once again, it doesn't have to necessarily be that that's a bad friendship or some bad things are happening over there. It could be within you. So just make sure you guys talk about it and just find out where the issue actually lies. And at the end of the day, if you guys love each other and you're planning to move together and be together, if it's causing that much controversy, you might want to consider maybe it's not worth it. Or you may want to consider if the relationship is worth it. I'm not trying to break people up, but you want to think about that. I thank you for tuning in today. We were talking about can you have a relationship with the opposite sex if you're in a relationship? My answer is yes, you can. However, there are parameters and rules and ground rules that you need to follow in order to be successful at it. I'm going to ask you to follow me on all of the platforms at Ask Karla. My website is askkarladl.com. You're tuning into the Us Review. I ask that you tune in weekly because I'll be giving all of these subjects a go for and just talking about different controversial topics that I think that you might like. Take care and thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.